by Scott Gilfoid Dominic Breazeale 181, 16 KOs says open to fighting British heavyweight Dillian Whyte 211, 16 KOs on October 28 on the undercard of the Anthony Joshua vs. Brit Pull of card in Cardiff, Wales. Breazeale is more than a handful for a good but flawed heavyweight like Whyte. I consider Whyte vs. Breazeale as a 5,050 fight, especially given the small amount of preparation time for both guys to train. Breazeale was going to fight Bermane Stiverne on the Deontay Wilder vs. Luis Ortiz card on November 4. Ortiz was popped on a drug test, so he was taken off the card. Stiverne is now fighting Wilder, which leaves Breazeale no opponent for his next fight. Dillian Whyte would be a good option for the American, as long as the money is right. At Eddie Hearn at Dillian Whyte, let's do this. The fans want it. I am in. October 28, Clenched Fist, Cardiff, Wales. CALIFORNIALOVEHERCEOMESTROUBLESOMEBODYGOTTAPAY at Premier Boxing at Sky Sports at Matchroom Boxing, said Breazeale on his social media site. So there it is. Breazeale says he wants the fight with Whyte. Now it's up to Whyte's promoter Eddie Hearn to make a big enough offer to get Breazeale to take the fight on just 3 weeks' notice. It's unclear how much Breazeale would want for the fight. Hearn offered Deontay $3 million to fight Whyte recently, which was $4 million less than what the Bronze Bomber wanted for the fight. If you split that number, $1.5 million would seem like a fair deal for Breazeale, who has future world champion written all over him. You're not going to get a talent like Breazeale to take a fight on less than 1 month notice for chicken feed to face Whyte. Hearn says he wants Deontay to fight Whyte after he beats Breazeale. That's how cocky Hearn is. He thinks Breazeale is a pushover for Whyte. Breazeale could be a reality check for Hearn that his guy Whyte isn't the type of talent that be counted on to beat the upper echelon of the heavyweight division. I'm just saying, I don't want to see Hearn crying crocodile tears if Whyte gets beaten up by Breazeale. Yeah, Breazeale didn't look so good against Joshua last year, but that's a different fighter and a different situation. Just because Joshua beat Breazeale doesn't mean that Whyte will automatically be able to do the same thing. There's levels in boxing. Reed Hearn says Joshua ready for Wilder Ortiz winner. Whyte's promoter Eddie Hearn has reportedly made a substantial offer to the 32-year-old Breazeale to face Whyte. Hearn has been going on about wanting Breazeale for Whyte for at least a month now. It's the ideal fight for Hearn, Whyte vs. Breazeale. However, it's a match that could go haywire for Whyte if he fights like he did against Derek Chisora last December. If Hearn thinks the 2012 US Olympian Breazeale is coming to the UK to roll over for Whyte, he's going to be in for a rude awakening. Breazeale has more than enough talent to get the job done against the 29-year-old Whyte and send him home a loser. It would be a lesson that Hearn would soon forget. Whyte is a good fighter, but he's not that good for him to just roll over the top guys one after another. We have made his advisors a substantial offer and we hope to close the deal by the end of the weekend, said Eddie Hearn to SkySports.com. It would be interesting to know what Hearn's substantial offer is for Breazeale to take the fight with Whyte. If it's not at least $1 million, I don't think it's worth it for Breazeale to take the fight. I mean, we're talking about only 3 weeks' notice for Breazeale to prepare for the fight against Whyte. Well, that plays 2 ways, but it's easier for Whyte to prepare, because he's a simple slugger with one way of fighting. What you see is what you get with the 29-year-old Whyte. He fights the same way each time he competes. Breazeale gave it a game effort in losing to Anthony Joshua by a 7th-round knockout on June 25, 2016 at the O2 Arena in London, England. In breaking down what went wrong for Breazeale in that fight, he didn't attack Joshua hard enough during any one round. The blueprint to beat Joshua was created by Whyte and followed by Vladimir Klitschko. You must attack Joshua really hard for a full 3 minutes. You throw nothing but punches at Joshua and force him to move his bodybuilder physique around the ring, and he quickly tires out. Unlike most boxers, Joshua doesn't recoup in the next round. It takes Joshua chapter 3 to 4 rounds to get his second wind. Breazeale didn't attack Joshua hard enough, and this allowed him to pot-shot him with big punches for 7 rounds until the fight was stopped. Read Dillian Whyte vs. Dominic Breazeale possible for October 28. Breazeale recently stopped previously unbeaten knockout artist Iswagba Ugano in the 5th round on February 25 on the undercard of the Deontay Wilder vs. Gerald Washington card at the Legacy Arena in Birmingham, Alabama. Breazeale Ugano is Boxing News 24's pick for the heavyweight fight of the year, as it was non-stop action for the 5 rounds that it lasted. Huguenot hit the deck in round 3 and 2 times in round 5. Breazeale was down in the 4th. Huguenot was nailing Breazeale with major shots in all 5 rounds, but the American showed incredible toughness in taking the punches and coming back with his own shots. Whyte would have a lot of problems taking the kinds of shots that Huguenot was landing on Breazeale. Huguenot is clearly one of the biggest punchers in the heavyweight division today. Obviously, Huguenot's chin isn't the best, which is why he ended up losing the fight. Breazeale came close to getting knocked out in the 4th. Whyte defeated 38-year-old journeyman Malcolm Tan by a third-round knockout on August 19. This was a showcase fight for Whyte, and not intended to be a competitive fight. Whyte looked terrible in his previous fight against Chisora on December 10 last year. I scored that fight for Chisora. He had Whyte on the verge of being knocked out on at least 3 occasions in that fight. If Chisora hadn't gassed in those instances, he would have knocked Whyte out in my opinion.